People who previously went missing, what was your story? I skipped 11th grade and was younger than the rest of my class when I graduated. When I got accepted to university across the country, my family didn't want me to pursue it because of this, among other things, but this was the obvious excuse given. Obviously, young and dumb me said, "F*** it." I packed my car in the middle of the night and left. No one noticed for a whole day until they asked whether I was coming home that night, and I said no since I was out of town already. My sister filed a missing person report, which led to everyone I'd ever known trying to get in touch with me. I called the police to close the file and told everyone else to shove off. It was surprisingly easy to close the official file though, so if I had actually been kidnapped and forced to call the police, I'd be dead by now. Food for thought. When I was 5 or 6, my dad, stepmom and I went to the beach. I followed my dad as he took a bunch of towels and picnic gear from the parking lot to the beach. Once we got to the beach, he kept going and going down the beach and I kept following him. We walked through an extremely long time down that beach, maybe 30 minutes. I was getting super tired and needed to tell my dad to slow down, so I ran up and caught up to him. Well, guess what? It wasn't my dad I was following, just a completely random dude. Now I was way down the beach, no mum or dad. It was insanely crowded on the beach that day. I floundered about in that area of the beach trying to find my dad and I couldn't. This must have gone on for some time because by the time I decided to head back to the car where we parked, there were cops everywhere and my dad and stepmom were an absolute mess. Nothing scary happened, but as an adult looking back, I'm so glad nothing bad happened. When I was 10, me and my family went to Disneyland to hang out for summer. After a few hours walking from ride to ride, I ended up losing my family between thousands of persons. Once I realised I was lost, like every little kid would do, I started crying. As I did this, I felt a hand touching my shoulder. When I finally looked at the person that was touching me, I saw a big man in his 30s. He grabbed me from my hand and took me to the parking lot. As he introduced me into his car, he told me, "We are going to find your family." We went through the road for around 15 minutes until we stopped in a gas station. He wasn't that smart and left the door open. I entered the grocery store that was beside and told the guy who was working there that I lost my family. He quickly called the police and they got me back to my family. Was playing hide and seek with my cousin. He used to be like, "I give up," and I'd come out. Then he'd say that I lost, etc. As a 3 to 4 year old, that was a huge problem in my life. So I hid behind the material of a sofa and stayed there for hours. He said he gave up, but I didn't come out. Flash forward to his mum, his dad's brother, and half the people who lived on the street screaming and trying to find me. I won. I wasn't technically missing as much as I ran away when I was 11. I had a physically and mentally abusive older sister who made my life and my parents' life a living hell. Counsellors at school got involved because they thought I was being abused by my parents. I wasn't. Long story short, I ran away day one, in the evening, because I was 11 and dumb. Wandered around until about midnight. Went to the school because in my child mind I could talk to the counsellor again the next morning in hopes of escaping my family. Or sister. A cop and my dad found me that evening asleep in front of my outdoor classroom's entrance. I ran away the very next day when my dad dropped me off at school. I found a bike and spent the entire day wandering around the city. A guy unloading the truck at the grocery store tossed me a bag of chips. Later that day I ended up at the local college campus in the girls' dorms. They fed me tuna fish sandwiches and gave me cookies and milk. Thankfully, one of the girls alerted the authorities and took me home. My parents and I had a long talk about the whats and whys of the situation, and to their credit, within a week my pop took another job in another city and moved us from the glorified ghetto we lived in, and got my sister the help we both needed. This was all in the mid-90s.